7-Eleven plans to open over 600 stores under a new design by 2027. According to Retail Dive, 7-Eleven is planning to open over 600 large format food-focused convenience stores in North America by the end of 2027, according to an investor presentation posted last Thursday. These locations will showcase a new prototype the company internally calls its new standard stores. They are, quote, more contemporary facilities, end quote, that offer, quote, a large product assortment and expanded food and beverage offerings, end quote, compared to the rest of its stores. 7-Eleven's new standard format is the first prototype the convenience retailer has launched since it rolled out its Evolution store concept in March 2019. Those locations featured 7-Eleven's Mexican QSR, Laredo Taco, as well as made-to-order specialty beverages, self-serve specialty coffee, a cold treats bar, mobile checkout, and delivery capabilities. 7-Eleven CEO and OmniTalk fan Joseph DePinto said on Thursday that 7-Eleven has, quote, leveraged key learnings from its Evolution stores over the past few years, and that beyond the increased food and beverage offerings, the new standard C stores feature, quote, many of the same elements of the Evolution stores, as well as in-store seating and electric vehicle charging stations. And this is also the A&M put you on the spot question this week.
Oh boy.
Better you than me on this one. All right. Will 7-Eleven's new format be the move the convenience store industry needs to lessen its dependence on historically declining fuel and tobacco volumes? And how much should QSR players be looking over their shoulder to see what happens? God, they're so good.
They are. I mean, this reminds me of like when we left the NACS, the National Association of Convenience Stores conference last year, Chris. I mean, Chad and the team at A&M are hitting on the exact question that I think was on top of everyone's minds when we left that show, because these fueling stations are definitely doubling down on these QSR concepts and really making that their growth opportunity to like make sure that they have a reason for you to come to their location time and time again, whether you're filling up with gas or it's just the most convenient option. So I mean, I think this story is important, and I'm really going based off of what we saw 5 years ago, Chris. We went to this Evolution store in Dallas 5 years ago. They have 5 years of learning that they've put into these new concepts, and they're scaling this to 600 stores. So I think it's absolutely something that the convenience and QSR industries need to be paying attention to. I mean, they are making massive investments here. We are seeing investments in like full kitchen build outs to support the Laredo tacos. They are putting in new fixturing and infrastructure to support things like mobile checkout and scan and go, and in the future, possibly even entry and exit that would be controlled. They're doing, setting up better throughput for the delivery of fresh food items, and then the supplies for the restaurant. And then finally, they have to really be thinking, and they did in the store that we visited in Dallas, about accommodating seating and an environment where people can stay now that EV chargers are a component of this. And we're really not seeing that with many other C-store retailers yet, with the exception of maybe Gelson's that's piloting this out in California. But I think that this investment, the pure investment that 7-Eleven is making here, is a reason for us to be paying attention to this, both in the C store space and in the QSR space, because I think that there's a lot of room, and 7-Eleven is betting on this being their growth engine for the future. But where do you land? I mean, what were your thoughts when we were in that store in Dallas?
Yeah, I think my thoughts are similar. And honestly, I'm dying to ask Chad Lusk, who potentially is the originator of this A&M question and a former C-store operator, what his take is on his question. But, I think it's something that everyone has to be paying attention to. And the reason I say that is I think the key here lies in the names that 7-Eleven is using. They're going from Evolution, taking the lessons learned from that, which, by the way, learnings is not a word. I hate when people say that. It's lessons.
Sorry, learning.
No, it wasn't you. It was in the article. Oh. The article said learnings. And then we all do it. I do it all the time too. So it's no big deal, but it's just a little pet peeve of mine. But they're taking the lessons learned from that and now calling this new format the new standard, which tells me this store is actually just an evolution against the trends 7-Eleven is seeing, like what you named, like EV charging, expanded food and beverage offerings, which, as you said, we heard at NACS. We shot a video of their Evolution store. It was really impressive. We'll try to include it in the show notes as well. And the other point that I'd make is it seems like the right way to experiment when you're talking about retail physical footprints. Mm-hmm. Design big and bold and then work backwards. which is an interesting approach when you compare it in contrast to like how Wayfair tried to experiment with their stores, how Amazon's been trying to experiment with their stores in grocery. I actually like this approach a lot better because you spend a little bit more upfront, but you get better answers in the long term and you see what's possible. So, and then the other point about this is they must have the confidence that it works.
Right.
They're thinking this is going to work if they're going out publicly and saying 600 stores. We're going to build 600 stores with this in a pretty short time horizon too. This is not like Target's we're going to build X number of stores in 10 years baloney that they're putting out there. So that's my take. I think QSR and the convenience store industry both have to take a close look at this to see how things are still evolving.
Now you got me craving a Laredo taco, Chris, early in the morning on a Wednesday.
Or a Del Taco.
Oh God. No.
Or a Jack in the Box taco.
Oh my God. Now you're just spouting off QSRs. I was like sticking with the 7-Eleven one. Whatever.
I am a big QSR fan, Ed. That is true. You know that.
Oh my God.